Welcome to FPTV New Releases, where my very special guests today are author Emma Vicelli and artist Claudia Leonardi, the brilliant creators behind our fully licensed Titan Comics Life is Strange series. And we're here to talk about something very special today, actually, which is we have so far produced 3 fully licensed by Square Enix. Hello, my old mate Andrew James. Hope you're well. And I want to talk to you about this in a second. For the mighty Andrew James, my old pal. Good to see Andrew. We want to talk about this fully licensed graphic novel series, for which we've now published at Titan 3 beautiful collections. And we are actually putting together in a glorious box set, which you are going to be able to order or pre-order from the links attached to this interview. And that box set is publishing on the 8th of December, and it collects volumes 1, 2, and 3. So how are you both?
It's 2020.
It's 2020. It's a glorious year. It's difficult to believe things could actually get any better than they are right now.
No, I'm good. I'm happy to see Claudia because we don't get to see each other. So you brought us together, which is really nice.
Yeah, exactly. We had to see each other at the beginning of the year, but everything was cancelled. So we've been closed in our homes since 2020 happened.
Yeah, this is the reunion.
Yeah, guys, I'm totally with you. I mean, one of the great things about the scene within which we all work is that those glorious moments of traveling the world and, seeing our fellow creators and publishers at various shows around the world and having a great time. And of course, that's all been done virtually this year in everybody's lounges and homes. And while that's very nice, it's not quite the same thing. So, and it's good that everybody's got a pretty upbeat response here, because...
Well, we're so lucky that we can do this,
That's right, exactly.
Things could be worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right on. I couldn't agree more. Now, to my original point, and just once more for good measure, the Life is Strange comic series is an officially licensed saga.
You keep saying that, it makes me worry it's not.
Created in collaboration with Square Enix. I was briefed by Lauren, our publicity individual, to make sure I underline this point several times. So I'm just ramming it home. Like James Caan at the end of Rollerball. I'm just sending this one home.
To be honest, as a lifelong Square fangirl, it still makes me happy to hear the sentence, so it's fine.
Yeah. Right, exactly. I felt that might be the case.
It seems so real.
Yeah, exactly. And the story presented in your comic is just one possible continuation of the timeline where Max saved Chloe's life out of a multiverse of possibilities. So for fans of the Life is Strange games who haven't yet dipped into your comics, where should they start? And is there any way to sum up your wild ride and the wild ride we've been on so far? I know it's not. That's a massive question, isn't it? I could have said, "What's the weather like outside where you are right now?" Yeah, I realise that's a very big and open-ended question.
I'm looking at Clet. I don't know which of us want to jump in first.
I think you can start since you're the writer. Okay. You're better equipped to answer the question.
Okay.
Brilliantly deflected, Claudia. Very good. Excellent.
I'd say in terms of where to start, a wise woman once said, start at the very beginning. Basically start with book 1, Dust, which is the first in what we started creating, which as you say is that sort of one branch in a multitude of possibilities. And when we embarked on that book, neither Claudia or I or any of the team realized how far this comic was going to go. Like we went into that expecting a mini-series. So it's amazing that we're able to sit here now talking about being into series 2 and a box set of series 1. It's amazing. So yeah, I'd say start with Dust because that's the beginning. And to sum up the wild ride, how do you sum it up? If you liked the game, and which you must have done because you're sane and it's an amazing game, when you get to the end, if you feel like you just want to spend a little more time with those characters and explore possibilities with us, that's exactly what the comic does. It's a fun exploration of possibilities in the Life is Strange universe.
I think that's very well said, given the gloriously open-ended nature of that question. Let me try and hove in a bit more on some more specificity for you. So, what story possibilities are opened up by a longer series like this, and what have been both of your favourite smaller moments that have popped up along the way?
I'm going to let Claudia take this one.
Well, it's a difficult question. Also, I'm not English, so it's quite difficult for me to think in a language and then translate. But I think the first thing that comes to mind is the last one, the last issue we are working on right now, that has a very, how do you say it? A very difficult conversation between Chloe and Max, where Max has to think about the consequences of her powers, and those little things that go into explaining and giving. I'm sorry for all my but
Don't be
I'm
sorry.
course,
You're
yeah.
very
amazing.
fast.
Do not.
I'll give you my my non-English rendition in a second, which will be non-existent. So this is amazing.
Exactly.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that I really like the moments where Emma, in this case, because she is writing, gives her interpretation, and I think also mine, because of all the things she wrote, I'm quite happy with the results and her view of things, and I like those moments where she gives her interpretation of the things that happened in the game and in the story that she decided to write about.
We get to.
I don't know. It's
No,
it's very open
amazing.
answer, but
Yeah.
I really like it.
I think we get to deep dive, don't we, into character traits. Yeah, I know. We've got the same
And
mind. I know what you mean.
that's the exact translation of what I wanted to say.
Yeah, getting to pull out moments, because we've got that space, which in a short series we wouldn't have had that time. We fit a lot into us, and I know Claudia's being kind and saying it's how I write it, but also those internal moments can only be told properly because of Claudia's art. Like like anything with comics, it's a combination of the storytelling and the art, and when they come together and you have these heartbreaking moments where you get to sort of deep dive is a word for it, go into those characters' inner thoughts. So the more time we have in the comic, the more time we have to investigate that and spend time with the characters.
This is a series we're very proud of at time, because I think it's beautifully realised, and I think both the script and the artwork are really lovely, actually, and it's a great book to savour and enjoy. And since issue 1, you guys have been challenging readers to pay attention to backgrounds, to costumes, to haircuts.
Challenging ourselves.
Yeah, as timelines shift and blur. So what so far has been your favourite hidden message or meaning?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if I have a favorite, but every time I have to put something in the background, I always ask maybe Andrea if he has some. Do you have something that you want to put in this poster, or a graphic you want me to draw in on a mug or something like that? So we work together and we put inside little Easter eggs.
Lovely.
But I don't know if I have a very, I don't know, particular moment or detail that.
I think sometimes the things that make them my favorites are more in how they're received, and like
right, okay, makes sense.
especially like the very beginning with Dust, with the original flickers that were just so subtle, like literally to the point where Andrea would put a different colored streak in Chloe's hair, or where Claudia drew the graffiti in the background on the wall changing, and they were so subtle. And what made them amazing was seeing people pick up on them, I think, because we knew from the beginning that we could trust the readers of this series, because we know what Life is Strange players are, because we are Life is Strange players. We like to investigate and we like to extrapolate out and find all the secrets. And so getting to play with that in a comic it was quite risky doing it, because it could, if it hadn't carried, it could have gone quite badly, and people would have just thought, why are they drawing things wrong? But thank goodness that's not what happened, and we were right to know that the readers would pick up on it. So I think that kind of made them favorites. That first time I saw a tweet of someone, I think when like issue 2 or something had come out, when they'd started to realize something, there was another layer to this, and they started to pull out some screenshots of like panels where they'd seen Claudia's tweaks, and that made them my favorites, I think, just for like, it worked.
Yeah, that must be such a kick, I think. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about being creators like you guys are. And in a world that's rife with time travel and multiple timelines, I'm imagining that to create that, things must get pretty complex sometimes. So what's the biggest challenge about writing a story with such dynamic and fluid rules of time and space?
I keep saying to people, I'm so lucky with Claudia, because like we're making it very hard on her, or I'm making it very hard on us, on myself as well, and especially in season 2, having to literally juggle 2 different timelines and everything that comes with that. And a lesser artist may have struggled more. Like Claudia and Andrea both are just so in tune with it all, that it's just a joy to see it unfold. But I know how much you'll be banging your head against a wall, Claudia, because I do it as well. Like I literally sit down to write scenes, and I've got these maps where I have to work out like, oh wait, no, they didn't have that conversation. It was that same person, but in a different reality had that conversation. So this one doesn't know that, but this one does. It's very confusing. But hopefully, and it should be a bit confusing to read as well, I think, because the idea of any good mystery is you want it to be confusing until it falls into place. And again, because it's Life is Strange, and because the game was very much presenting us with that sort of a story in the first place, it's really fun to be able to continue that, and hopefully give people not just reading a story, but to be able to then go back over it and go, oh, now I get why that person looked that way at that point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It is quite difficult to keep all the things consistent, because sometimes I draw a page and then I go back and I remember that those were not the characters that I was supposed to draw, because in the different timelines, obviously, I try to give them, I don't know, different clothings, and Andrea gives them different colors. And it's quite hard, but I hope the result is worth it.
Well, Claudia, as to clothing, you've hit upon something I was going to ask you about, because the editorial team were telling me that you had a great time designing all the character outfits. And I wanted to ask if you've taken inspiration from real life fashion, or you just like to play around with concepts in your head and see what you come up with. How does that work for you?
I think I try to seek for reference in, I don't know, I'm always on Pinterest. I go there and check for a style and see if a particular style fits with the character personality, or what the personality I think that would fit best with the style. I try to, and obviously I draw what styles that I like, obviously. There is always that part of me.
Claudia is like really stylish and fashionable. Like the couple of times we've met, I've just been like, oh, she's really cool. So a lot of her fashion sense is innate, I feel.
I think that is very well said. I was suspecting the same thing myself. And to flip back to character for a second, we get, and without trying to be too spoilery, because I want to save the sanctity of the moment of reading this for the people who are going to pick it up if they've not read it yet. But we get to see some special interactions between Max and Warren and Rachel and Chloe. But in this version of events, Max is seeking a way back to her own Chloe, the one she saved and romantically connected with, in her own world. Can you tell us which characters you have the most, what's the right way to say this, most kind of chemistry with or empathy with when you're writing them? Do you feel that way about all the characters, or there are some particular ones?
I mean, obviously, like any writer, I care about all of them because I write them, and I don't think you can write, unless you're inside a character's head, you can't really write them. But Max is definitely she's my anchor. Like, she's the, not anchor in the way they say it in the game, but she's my writing anchor, because it's her adventure that we're following. Like, it's obviously got a lot of other people, but she's the central figure. And I feel like I've said to people before that I feel like a lot of the things that I see our Max as being grounded in, like the things that build her personality, this sense of, she has such a deep sense of guilt, whether it's her fault or not. She has this, she needs to process, she's starting to understand that you can't just ignore things or push them aside and it will be okay. You kind of have to live through and process things that have gone before. There's a lot about her that I, without getting too dark about myself, I can empathize with. I feel like she's the person who I maybe connect with the most. But that said, for the comic verse specifically, and I'll let Claudia answer in a minute as well, but I love getting to create new characters and bring new things into this world, because it feels like such a privilege to not only be able to write the existing characters, to be able to introduce something new. So I've got a real soft spot for the High Seas. Like, whenever I get to write them, I'm like, yay, High Seas.
How about yourself, Claudia?
I think, Max is, I don't know if she is the protagonist or if it's something else, but she is the one that I'm more drawn to empathize with. Well, the story is from her point of view, so probably that there's that, but also the deep dive into her flaws and decisions and consequences of her actions that Emma writes are very interesting to me. But if I have to say, the characters that I like to draw the most is Chloe with longer hair, because I don't know, her style, her everything, the scenes where she appears, I really like them. But also the secondary characters are dear to me. Emma wrote them, but I gave them faces and bodies and everything, so I feel them very close.
They're yours,
sort of my child. Yes, there are children.
Yeah.
Of course, and that, creating within a universe like this, and being able to own characters like that because you created them, you realize them, that just must be a fantastic feeling.
Yeah, it's something like, obviously a lot of us care about these characters deeply, the characters from the game. But there's something particularly special, I think, if someone mentions one of the secondary characters, if someone does I've seen people do fan art of Tristan, and that's amazing, because to think that one of our, as Claudia says, our babies, to imagine that one of our babies can resonate with a reader in amongst all these incredible legacy characters from a powerful game, like, that's amazing. I feel really lucky that we get to include new babies.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now you guys are moving on to the next stage in the series, Life is Strange: Partners in Time. So what can fans look forward to?
More brain scratching. Like, if you thought it was confusing in the first season, or if you think, when you read it, if you think it's confusing in the first season, the second season is more confusing. Oh, yeah. What can we say without spoiling stuff? I don't know. If we're assuming some people watching this haven't read the first season yet, oh, I don't know what to say. What would you say, Claudia?
I think
I'm thinking about it, but I would say a clear direction. Clear direction. I think that's the strong point of this second season.
Actually, yeah, that's a good
I don't
point.
know if I'm partial to this because I think it's a very. I like where we are going, so I'm proud
Yeah,
of what we're doing. So
yeah, I think actually that's a good point. The sense of direction, because I think with the first season, unlike it's normal with comics, the first season there tended to be oh, are we going to do another arc? Are we going to do another arc? So it was always a bit kind of, you don't know what's coming next. You know, we started as a mini, whereas with Partners in Time, it was more getting to sit down with Titan and Square and have a pitch the whole season. So the difference this time is, yeah, exactly as Claudia says, we have a direction, we know where we're heading, and it feels like slightly more stable ground to be working on, because I mean, comics are obviously, it's unpredictable out there, so it's totally understandable that when a series is new, you don't know how much you're going to get. So yeah, knowing that we're safely working on a series and we know where it's going is really good feeling. But I don't know what to say without spoiling stuff. But yeah, basically, if you enjoy the investigative nature of the first season and having to go back to other pages and check why that happened, then you're going to have that double in the second season.
yeah.
Yeah, that I think you've very effectively taken us through that without delivering any spoilers whatsoever, which is good. So this has been FPTV new releases. We have been talking to, I say we, I mean me, because I'm the only person here, Claudia Leonardi and Emma Vicelli about their epic Life is Strange series, for which you can order the box set, the beautiful box set of graphic novels 1, 2, and 3 from the links attached to this interview. And Life is Strange Partners in Time is coming very soon. Thanks very much for joining us today, guys. It's really great to see you both.
You're very welcome.
You're welcome.
And stay safe and
Thank
well.
you.
Cheerio.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
you too.